Welcome to 2019. This will be my first personal vlog in said 2019. Happens to be number 19. And you could say there would be a couple different directions I could have gone with this one. Could either cleverly time it with 2019 or, heck, Levi Mitchell wears number 19. But I decided that personal vlog number 19, dog days of winter. You might have heard the expression, the dog days of summer, and everyone associates the dog days of summer with, the long, lazy, hot days of the summer. I personally think in Calgary here, the dog days of summer start the Monday after when the Stampede is over, and it goes all the way until Labor Day weekend. Don't know what particular date. You can say the dog days of summer ends on Labor Day weekend, but I just feel that after the excitement of summer, if you were a kid growing up, that the honeymoon of being out of school is over, and then the Stampede, the greatest outdoor show on earth in Calgary, is over, and then that's when you get into those long lazy days and start being bored here. Where I think, looking back, growing up, I probably would have rather been in a year-round school where you get the same number of days off here, but it's spread out throughout the year instead of having most of it done in the summer here. But actually, the expression of dog days of summer goes back to, if you know astrology and the stars and the planets here. Actually, there's a star called Sirius. It's the dog star. It's the brightest star in the night sky, and it lines with the stars and planets. You actually see Sirius, the star in Canis Major, which is Greek for dog, and that's why it's called the dog star. You see it definitely predominantly looking at the south and northern hemisphere in the wintertime, near Orion, and it'd say it's aligned with Orion's belt, with Orion the Hunter here, but you see that really well in the winter, but you don't see it in the summer there, because if you look at the star chart, the stars align with Sirius, and the Greeks thought that the reason why it gets so much hotter in the summer is because Sirius is so bright. In terms of space terms, it's only just over 8.5 light years away, which is pretty close to space terms. So that's why but it's also bigger and brighter and hotter in the sun. So they thought that Sirius and the sun teaming up, and that's why it got so much hotter, during the summer there. But really, it's because the Earth is more tilted towards the sun. And the stunning thing is, in the northern hemisphere, the Earth is actually further away from the sun than it is in the winter. But we're talking about 3 kilometers here, but 3 million kilometers, which is still, pretty close in space terms. But I associate the dog days of winter kind of similar to the dog days of summer, where the dog days of winter here, everything is, it's all dull and boring, depending on what the weather's like. It's the opposite effect, where it's cold, dark longer, but it has nothing to do with it. Maybe this is just a coincidence where you definitely see Sirius the star very predominantly in the night sky here, but usually it's a big chunk of the year too, because usually I associate the dog days of winter starting on January 2nd and pretty much goes until the end of February there. And if you go back to personal vlog number 15, where I talk about Christmas as an adult, especially this past year, but it also goes back to all my experiences with Christmases growing up, and then, as you get older, work retail or just works, you're always so much busier leading up to Christmas there. And then my last personal vlog, number 18, about what I really hear after Happy New Year is I just generally find that, the holiday season gets you way too high, and it seems to glorify winter in December. And then when we get to January and February, usually January, February, and even March, they're generally the blah months. of the year. I mean, me personally, I don't really do much of my more exciting activities until the second half of the year, and this year is definitely shaping up to be, no different, especially if you follow my YouTube channels. I mean, at least I have my sports and sports fan, and that's why usually I end the dog days of winter at the end of February there, because in March, that's when NHL playoff races really start heating up. I mean, now we're into the third quarter of the NHL season, where teams you have a feel of who's contenders, who aren't contenders, and then you look at the standings and figure out, who still has a shot to make the playoffs, who's trying to maintain a playoff spot, and then look at, they're done, like too far out. And I mean, that's why the trade deadline doesn't heat up till the end of February there, but March, especially in the sports world, starts heating up a little more with NHL playoff race. I call that March Madness in Canada. I know in the States there you got the NCAA basketball tournament where the championship game isn't up until April, but it's all the jockeying for position and getting through the tournament in March there. But MLB gets started, and you get excitement of that. But most of my travel plans and that, I always have my annual spring vacation, but that's not until May, because the other reason why I don't travel as much in winter, there's the uncertainty of the weather, and you don't want to be delayed or spend extra time traveling in the winter time. And really, I consider myself a fair weather driver anyway, but that's the thing. It seems neat to kind of almost tie in with the Sirius star, the dog star, but that's all you can do. I do feel that now we're in the dog days of winter here, and the excitement of the holidays is long gone, and here we are almost in the middle of January here. Even with my Eastern Orthodox bloodlines here, Ukrainian Christmas is all over. So, people have to suddenly realize it's time to put everything away and get back to normal. And, it's the dog days of winter. You're trying to get better as a person, but then, it's always work and life gets in the way, which seems to always stop you from achieving what you want to do here. But that's how I feel about it being the dog days of winter right now. Still enjoy the stars and planet, but if you ever have a chance to look at the stars and the planets there, find Orion, and it's Sirius A is the big bright star that you see at nighttime. Obviously the brightest star in the sky is the sun, but we're talking about the night sky there, and sometimes you may get treated with a few planets, Jupiter and Saturn, or if you go outside in the morning or the evening with both Mercury and Venus being closer to the sun, you always see them either in the morning or in the evening. So that's how I take on it's the dog days of winter here. It's just, we just got to grind through January and February here. Hopefully where you are, or at least here, the weather be half decent so that the winter can at least go through well, and hopefully everything will work, and maybe one of these years the economy will finally start getting better, that the dog days of summer or winter won't be as like the dog days of summer, except it's like the summer but it's cold in the winter. So anyway, if you enjoy everything I do on my YouTube channel here, just make sure you hit like and subscribe, and you can always comment on all my content that I put out here. And these personal blogs is always a nice break away from all my sports recap, and kind of reveal my true personality here, and we'll see how that goes. But believe it or not, I'm up to number 19 here, and I got several topics planned for a dozen more here. So as I always say, I'll see you in the next video.